Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Thursday Night.
Hello.
Hello Hayden, how are you?
Sal, mate, yeah.
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I can't complain.
Good.
We have an actual guest again.
Yes, another special guest. An actual guest that brings something to the show as well. Well, we hope anyway. No pressure.
No pressure. Hi Max, would you like to introduce yourself? I am a personal favourite. I'm a personal fan of Max's name. Right, I've always felt that
It's a cool
you probably
name.
get this a lot. He's got a very cool name. He sounds like a superhero or a comic book hero to me.
Yeah, I do get that a fair bit. So,
Do you?
it's only a name. That's all I tell people. It's only a name. You know, it's what I was born with. If it's called, then
And the name is?
Max Banner.
Da-da-da-da.
He's not wearing a cape. We promise.
No, he's not. He's not. So, Max, if you could tell everyone a little bit about yourself. Maybe, obviously, we're a football-based podcast. What's your earliest football memory?
Earliest football memory.
Yeah.
I would say if it's on the Bromsgrove theme, especially, it was going to a Bromsgrove Rovers game when they were playing Studley, and they won 5-1, and that was back in 2001. So
Wow.
I was 5 then. But then I suppose the first proper international memory I remember is the 2002 World Cup.
Yeah.
With Brazil versus England, Seaman getting lobbed, Ronaldinho,
Yeah.
Rivaldo getting sent off was it the semi-final against Turkey when he was
Yeah, where
play
he
acting.
feigned injury in the corner.
Yeah.
Hacked in the face. Some good
So-
players.
I've got quite an interesting story to tell about the old England-Brazil quarter-final in that World Cup, but I'll reserve that for when we're not on air because I
Yeah.
don't think it's appropriate.
Oh, it's one of those stories, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is one of those, unfortunately, yeah.
Great. So, Max has a lot to do with Bromsgrove Sporting, and for anyone that doesn't know, that might not be, from around the area, they're a sort of what division are they, Max?
They are in the Midland Combination Premier Division.
Right.
So that's Tier 10.
Tier
so
10.
Is that 3 tiers below
Yeah.
Worcester?
So it's 3 below Worcester, 1 below Hereford. So it's it's quite a low level,
Yeah.
so to speak. And the big news for us as Worcester-based fans and people that are living in the city is that it's more or less confirmed from Worcester City and their management and the Bromsgrove management that they'll be ground sharing with Bromsgrove Sporting as of next season, because the rent at Kidderminster had gone up from 21,000 a year to 45,000.
Ooshed.
So it was a big drop, with Kidderminster expected to be relegated. For anyone that doesn't know from the Conference Premier, all the funds involved with that. So, Max, if you could just tell us a little bit about what that ground share might mean for Worcester fans. What can they expect when they go? Is it Victoria Park?
Victoria Ground, yes.
Yes.
It's quite a step down from Agborough, I admit, because I went to Agborough a couple of weeks ago for an assignment.
Okay.
With Dan?
Match report with Dan, yes.
Yeah.
To match report on a game, the 5-0 victory against Stalybridge Celtic.
Good game to go
Good game to go.
Exactly,
yeah.
yeah.
Brilliant.
And I was rather impressed by Agborough, so I was thinking, although Victoria Ground is my team's ground and I'm proud of it and whatnot, it's quite a step down. Although with the tendencies that Worcester have been getting,
Yeah.
it will be better for them because it will seem like it's fuller,
There'll be a better atmosphere.
better atmosphere as well. I think you mentioned on a previous podcast, it's the one stand on the one side,
Yeah.
and then freestanding areas.
Yeah.
Capacity, I think. The capacity obviously is about 5,000-6,000, but obviously if it were to get that, the security measures would have to be very stringent. But Sporting this year have been getting, especially over Christmas, 800 attendances. So
It's very good for that.
it's
for
very
that
good,
level.
yeah. So I think really regarding the attendances Worcester have been getting would be no
Yeah.
different to what Bromsgrove
No, not at all.
not
have
at
been
all.
achieving.
Do you think that we worked it out last week or the week before? It'll be 330 miles Worcester City fans will have to travel just for home league matches. That's without friendlies and potential
runs,
cup runs, that sort of thing. What do you think about that as a football fan yourself, and obviously with a team that plays in their own city or town?
Yep.
Do you think it's difficult for Worcester City fans to have to do this commute every single week and the away games as well? Do you sort of feel for them a little bit?
I do feel for them, yes. I mean, obviously, I can see the pros for Bromsgrove Sporting for having the ground share and the extra income that will come. But obviously, I do empathise with Worcester fans. And obviously, it's a situation they find themselves in the first place. It's pretty disgraceful, really, that they've had to relocate here, there and everywhere, from Kidderminster now to Bromsgrove. Regarding the travel, I mean, it's a question of really where else do they go at the moment. And I suppose Bromsgrove, it's
It's ideal for them, isn't it? Really, it's a good setup for them, and it is good that somebody is welcoming them with open arms as well.
Exactly,
really,
yeah. And I suppose it's a fair distance away, but if you catch a bus journey there, it's not too long.
Yeah. And it's not much further than them having to go to Agborough, so it's not like fans.
No, exactly, no.
We'll have to,
as much as we've heard from the sort of disgruntled side of the Worcester City faithful, if this deal wasn't there, they'd have nowhere to play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They've obviously offered them a decent deal on the rent, and alternating Saturdays between themselves and Bromsgrove and whoever else might be playing there. So there is an element of gratefulness in the air, which I think is important to remember.
It has to be, yeah,
because,
definitely, yeah.
If Bromsgrove haven't offered this deal, there'd be nowhere for them to play.
Yeah, and just regarding Bromsgrove as well, the extra income it'll bring to Bromsgrove as a town.
Of course.
People are going to the pubs, as opposed to being once a week, it's now going to be... Sorry, as opposed to being once a fortnight, it will now be once a week. Bromsgrove and Worcester fans, and hopefully bring a bit of disposable income to the high street as well, which we need in Bromsgrove.
So what do you think the rent that Worcester pay could do for Bromsgrove Sporting as a club? Would it be facilities or players or academy? Where might need improving?
Well, I think a few years ago we won we earned a Budweiser grant. So it was So it's basically a grant through the Budweiser, beer company, where we got £100,000.
Wow!
But it could be only spent on facilities, not on players. So we spent it on making the place more environmentally friendly, spending it on stands, seating, that sort of thing. So I suppose it's always room to be make improvements to the ground. There's always because if we need more seats, that sort of thing, it could always be lick of paint here and there. But obviously,
it all adds up, doesn't it? With these sort of things, it's a lot of money gets drained away by football clubs that people just don't see and they can't understand why. But everyday running of a football club, it costs a lot of money. It does.
And obviously, we're in a promotion battle at the moment, and if we were to get promoted and we need more money to spend on players, then obviously any money we get through the ground share will help us massively.
Yeah. So where are Bromsgrove in the league, and what's their sort of season been like so far?
They've had a good season, building on last season really, because it's a funny one. In our league, only one team gets promoted. There's no playoff system. So basically, you need to be top.
So it's a difficult league to get out of.
It's very difficult. I think a lot of our fans are bemused as to why there's no playoff system, but that's the matter. Usually what happens is one team will scorch away at the start of the season, and just prove that they can't get caught, and basically everyone's playing
catch up
basically. But this season we're in second. No, I tell a lie. We're now in first. We won on Tuesday evening. We're now a point clear of Coventry United, who have played 2 games more than us. But the big crunch game this Saturday we play Coventry United at the Victoria Ground.
Wow!
So
it's a big game there.
It's a big game. Yeah, we're hoping for another big attendance, another 800, maybe possibly 1,000 if it's advertised correctly in the local papers and whatnot.
Few away fans as well. Might come along.
Well,
you're here now. You've got a chance to plug away.
That's what I'm going to try and do. Obviously with Villa, Blues, Wolves, West Brom all either not playing on Saturday or playing away. If you've got nothing to do, come along. It's a good atmosphere. It's a massive game. I'd argue it's probably the biggest game Sporting have had since their, short history.
Wow.
Good. Really.
It's a big shout then. Just as it was a huge game for Worcester on the weekend. It's a similar sort of situation for Sporting.
I would say if Coventry win, they probably will win the league. But if we win, I'd say it's 50-50. Because obviously we've both lost games recently. Actually, both teams. So it's a case, if one team slips up, they're on a bad run, and one team can capitalise on that and really,
You mentioned before about there being no playoff system in that. Do you think there is grassroots football is almost penalised in a way?
Well, I suppose because there's no playoff system, because obviously with a pyramid system, there's more leagues that need to. Yeah. If you know what I'm saying, obviously there's less spaces to fill, and with more leagues underneath, it's only a case of only one team. But I just think that needs to be looked at somewhere, maybe where they try and split up another league somehow. Because I know we had a reshuffle a few years back whereby we came third in our league, but we ended up getting promoted in a reshuffle. Do you
think then there are too many football teams in the country? Do you think that's an issue? I personally don't think you can have too many football teams, but we are very strange as a country in that situation. You go abroad. And if their level of their national cups and stuff, when they're playing the early rounds, they're playing very amateur football. Your Ajaxes are going to they go into very, very amateurish clubs, and I think
like who, Tom?
Well, no, I just think like Louis van Gaal, for instance, when he first came to Man United, he in the League Cup, he massively disrespected MK Dons, because I think he thought that. Like wherever else he's done this, those levels, they don't have any talented footballers. They don't have. And then Dele Alli came and ran the show against Man United and embarrassed them massively. I think it was 4-0 or something. So I just think at times that there's perhaps a situation whereby in this country there are so many clubs and there's so much competitiveness that other leagues probably can't, and other countries probably can't. I think, compete with that.
I think it's good that we've got competitive lower league football. Obviously, if you compare our lower league system to other lower league teams, then there's far more competition.
Certainly,
And if you can't afford or can't get to a high league team, it's good to have a fair quality
local club to go and see.
I'm all for supporting non-league football and local sides, but I think it just regarding Bromsgrove, we've come second now. I think if we come second again, I think it'll be either our third or fourth season.
That's horrible.
And it's just we have a really good side. We win
the vast majority of
our games, and it's just like we've go for all this. It's a really, really long season. Starts in August. Cup matches as well, and just to keep
people are giving up time from work as well, and there's a lot of things that go on at this level that professional footballers don't have to worry about, really.
I mean, I suppose the only incentive of finishing as high as possible in our league is that if you finish in the top 6, you automatically qualify for the FA Cup next season. So if you finish outside the top 6, you don't qualify for the first round. So there's that thing. But obviously, we're solidly top 6. Even if we lost probably the vast majority of our games from now on in, we would still finish top 6. So it's if we lose this game on Saturday, it's really just every game will be dead rubber. Apart from a big cup final we've got next month.
Okay,
brilliant stuff.
Well, we do want to mention. We did briefly mention it before the weekend's game.
We've been keeping an eye on it as well, and there's a bit of an audience for it now, isn't there?
Yeah, there certainly is.
So last week we spoke about Worcester City and their protest at home against FC United that was scheduled to happen. Sort of call for the council to actually sort of do their jobs and keep people in the loop about what's actually going on, behind the scenes as to where they might be playing next year, or where the stadium plans have gone, or whether they've dried up. And it went well, didn't it?
It did go well. I'd just like to point out that this podcast has been blogged. Has been posted on Twitter, and you've been tagged in it, Worcester City Council. Yeah. So, if you've got something to tell us, please do get in touch and let us know. We always encourage people to get in touch with us and give us answers to any questions, or even if they want to ask us some questions, please do so. But yeah, come on, Worcester City Council, let's hear it. Let's see what you've got to say.
So it was 0-0 on the day. But it was one of those games where the results didn't seem to matter, did it? It was about the fans.
It wasn't about that, yeah.
There was 2,500 there, big away following that was really welcoming and sort of supportive, because, as a fan-owned club, FC United have sort of been there.
They've been through struggles, yeah.
Had to battle to get Broadhurst Park, so they were great as well. Big banners. Geordie branch of the Worcester City Supporters Club have been awesome, really good in setting that up, and there was a big collection, and I'd like to think that it made a difference, and that the council might have seen the news. There was a lot of local press there as well.
Yeah, the Worcester News got quite heavily involved, which I was impressed with.
It was a big live blog on the day. Yeah, biggest attendance they've ever had since moving away from their old ground as well. So it was a big day, and we'd like to think it went well. And there was a bit of a marker there as well. But like Max said earlier, most football fans can sympathise with this situation, because.
Certainly.
Would you like to have to do it yourself? Coventry.
Nobody wants to have to do it.
We're exiled at Northampton. It's a long way to go, and we said, didn't we, last week? We said, how can you build a grassroots academy and set up when you're not even in the city?
No, exactly. You can't do that, can you?
Like clubs like Bromsgrove need to be in Bromsgrove to have their academy set up. The funding's not there for them to plug it up and down the country. Yeah. So it's important. So anyone, again, if you want to get involved, if you just send them a tweet, I think they're #BringCityHome, aren't they?
Yeah.
So any football fans that, like Max said, get involved with non-league, 'cause it's a great game. It's a great experience.
And any and all support is welcome, isn't it? Let's not try and dress it up too much, but it is what it is. These guys are desperate to come home. They are in exile. Please stand up and pay attention, Worcester City Council. That's all I've got to say on the matter. I think we've done it to death.
Draw the line.
Draw the line.
We'll leave them alone. Sorry, guys. Leave them alone. So there was something that was a bit more national.
Yes.
That's been in the press the last couple of days as well, and which is another big boost for supporters.
Fans and supporters are finally getting some good news, and it's the £30 away ticket cap for Premier League games, which, the fact that it's taken this long is slightly outrageous, but at least it's arrived, and there is some positive news for Premier League fans who have been rinsed, quite frankly, for the last 10 years, and it is about time that something was done about it.
Definitely. What do you think, Max? Away tickets, £30 cap. Would you pay £30 to go to the Emirates, or?
I think on a one-off, I think £30 is reasonable to, watch a top flight.
Good
side.
quality Premier
Obviously,
League.
It's £30 on top of petrol,
your travel
and all those sort of things.
Program.
Exactly. Food, and
it all adds
everything
up.
else. I just think this is a good good introduction, but I think it's one step on a very long marathon of things that need to be changed.
Certainly.
Ticket prices all over. For season tickets.
Home matches.
Liverpool protesting. I think it's good that teams are getting behind it, but I think especially with the TV deals that keep getting signed and keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, I think this shouldn't be the end. This should merely be the start.
Well, I've mentioned it before in previous podcasts, and I stand by this. I've got a little bit of anger's not the right word, but I'm a bit frustrated with Premier League fans that it's taken them this long to even threaten to protest. Outside of the Liverpool protest, there haven't been a great deal of them, have there?
Not really. No.
Villa protested, but I think that's just because they're rubbish.
That's because they're not doing it on the pitch.
Yeah, and this is from a Villa fan as well as a Bromsgrove Sporting fan, so I'm not taking the mick. I'm merely
stating the obvious.
I wouldn't worry about it too much. I don't think there are a great deal of Aston Villa fans out there left listening to us after Hayden's input on this podcast over the last few months.
I don't mind them. They're all right. They're
Well, I've never heard you say that before. This is news to me.
We were in the company of a Villa fan, so
you're being polite. You're being polite here. I see what's going on.
But, I think it's interesting to say, to pick up on what Max said. Then, this is just a start. It is just the away tickets.
It is.
The home tickets are still a massive
It's only a small victory, isn't it? It's only a small victory.
And for the fans that have been doing it week in, week out for several years or
generations, some people, isn't it?
And it's only sort of started to pick up these massive costs post-millennium, and for them to hopefully start winding down. And you mentioned the TV deal. The clubs don't need to charge these prices anymore. Do they need to charge?
Well, look at the Bayern. Look at what Bayern Munich have said about it before. We could charge another £100 per season ticket,
but we're not going to do that.
But it's going to make us a couple of million, which is nothing to a football club, is it?
Yeah.
But to the man on the street, it's everything. It's the difference between being able to go and watch your side and not being able to go and watch your side. So,
and it's still interesting. £30 away ticket, that's great. But you can go.
It's not cheap, is it?
You can go and watch Hereford, which are a team that I followed, which played one division above Bromsgrove. You pay a season ticket there. I think they were £90 for adults this year. So you go to 3 away games, you still get your season ticket in less than a month. So I'm sure that's quite similar with the ticket prices at Bromsgrove, like big, initiative to get people down and keep the tickets low and that sort of thing.
Students are cheaper than adults. And, I think it's under 12s go free, and OAP as well. It's all about just trying to get as many people on board. Yeah. And in the fact that you watch one game, you might be hooked.
You'll go back again.
You'd be hooked. You go again and again.
So we've discussed this before. Live sport is addictive, isn't it? And there's no
whatever level as well.
It certainly is.
You go to a non-league game, 800 people packed in, good atmosphere. The game means a lot. It's a top of the table tie. You'll have as good a time there as you will, at most places in England, I think.
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
And non-league gets its reputation for being rough and hoofball. But believe me, if you watch, I can't speak for Coventry United, but if you've seen Sporting this season, the football we play, it's very good
Played
stuff.
An attractive style of
exactly,
play,
and I can only assume Coventry play a similar style.
Seeing as they are up there as well.
I mean, what would you rather watch at the moment, that or a Villa team who can't seem to string two passes together and pay, extortionate prices? And if you talk about Arsenal, the way Arsenal, playing at this moment in time,
capitulating.
It's not inspiring. That Swansea performance, although they were dominant, you want to pay extortionate amounts to see your team and moan.
Well, as a Manchester United fan, I have to say that the dour style of play that Louis van Gaal's offered up has been pretty embarrassing, and at times I've been pulling my hair out, and despite Manchester being a decent track from here in all previous seasons, I've made a concerted effort to go and watch as many games as possible this season.
Not as much.
This season I have not.
Yeah. But it's interesting. It is interesting. Max said there that you can go and watch a non-league game. All the excitement's there, but there's no drama from the players. You don't get, kicking chewing gum was one thing that was at the Villa, and players, making silly actions as they go on the bus, and all the sort of drama that Villa have seen this year. You just don't see that with non-league. There's no, they've all got jobs. They're all there together. It's normally a good group of mates who are
no frills.
No, that reach for the football league is there's no drama, is there? And it's proper down to earth. It's
that community.
Yeah, exactly.
We're owned by the fan sport, and it's more like a community feel.
Yeah,
and it's just played in a good spirit most of the time, unless it can get slightly heated from time to time.
That's football, isn't it?
It's just spirit. It's played in a good spirit, and
I think that makes it far more easy to engage with as well. Especially at this level, it gives you,
sure.
If it's part of the community and you're part of it, you feel part of something bigger than yourself, don't you? It's a family feel, and it's nice. I know it's a really weak word, but it is a good feel. It's a good feel for it.
Fan ownership is one of the best things to be going through football at the moment.
Certainly is.
To have that feeling of being part of the club, and
especially the Oviedo story, for instance.
And FC United and Manchester, and there are teams out there that have done it. It'd be nice to see Bromsgrove up there one day, maybe. You never know. Could they be up there one day?
It's again, like I refer back to this playoff system. We haven't got.
The lack of it.
I have a quiet confidence. If we could get this promotion this season, it could lead to many more. But in the same sense, in the same breath, if we don't get promoted this season, it could be a case of we just stay there
and stagnate.
Exactly. For seasons to come.
I suppose for progression, you need the promotion, don't you? You need the rises and falls, and then sort of if you just stay there, it's not gonna happen. But that's the nature of the system. There's not much you're going to do about it right this moment, is there? So
no, we can draw attention to it, but that is about it, really. I do want to talk about last night's high-profile game in England at Stamford Bridge between the champions-elect in France and a side that were champions last year who've fallen away massively this year, Chelsea and Paris Saint-Germain. I thought was a very entertaining game to watch. I enjoyed, what I like about Paris Saint-Germain is that because the French league isn't necessarily, it's not particularly strong, there isn't a great deal of incentive, I don't think, to watch Paris Saint-Germain. So when you do see them in the Champions League, it's nice to see how much of a good team they have developed into over the last 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, they've got some big names.
They have
big bucks behind them as well.
Yeah, obviously, they've had a lot of money thrown at them, and they're very much like in the vein of your Chelsea's and your Man City's, I suppose. But I was talking to you, Hayden, earlier on a little bit about a player who I was superbly impressed with, who sort of got under the radar for me personally. Anyway, I'm not sure about other people out there earlier on. And
yes,
Thiago Motta.
Remembered
the way he was pulling the strings for PSG last night. I was wholeheartedly impressed with that, and he must have had, like, as a key pass stat, one of the best all season, because he was involved in everything that PSG did. He was fantastic.
He's a player that never gets the limelight, does he? Got all the big names, and these players are always underlooked, and they never seem to make the headlines. But when you actually sit there and watch them do their jobs, there's so many unsung heroes in the game, and
there are.
And last night he was obviously one of them, and they did the business, and they're through to the next round.
They are. One thing I would say about that game is Ibrahimovic has sort of had in the past a little bit of a reputation, perhaps, of not scoring against English clubs. I think he's got 3 against Arsenal in the past, but obviously got his goals last night against Chelsea.
Yeah.
He looks every bit a Premier League standard player at the age of 34, which I'm not sure whether that's an indictment on the Premier League or whether it's just the fact that he's a very good footballer. But I think he could easily in the summer come and do a job for a Premier League club.
Would you like to see Ibrahimovic in the Premier League, Max?
He's a character, and whoever would take him on, they'd have a good player for them. But yeah, I'd like to have him. All the characters. We had Balotelli a few years back.
We did.
Yes.
We had the ups and downs and the trials and tribulations and the why always
fireworks.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally fireworks.
Yes, well, so characters, they put a smile on your face, and it'd be a good thing to have in the Premier League, in my opinion. Yeah,
I'm not sure how much truth there is in this, but there was a story flying around about Mario Balotelli getting stopped by the police and being asked why he had so much cash on him, and his answer, and my best and poorest Italian accent, was, "Because I am rich." And you could just imagine him saying it. I hope it's true. If it's not, then I stand corrected, but I would hope that it was
Mario.
true. Sorry, Mario. Yeah, sorry for that really poor attempt at an accent.
It's a nice thing to be able to do, though, wouldn't it? Yeah. I've got all this money because I've got all this money. Leave me alone.
Brilliant.
Another big game tonight as well.
Yes.
Europe again, but Europe's arguably second string competition.
I don't think it's arguable, is it? I think it is their second tier. So,
but having said that, it's with the games that involve English teams tonight, I think it makes this tournament from the Champions League's insignificant brother to the main stage. Actually, main attraction
just make
this
it sort
time,
of main event. Yeah, especially for a lot. They're probably the two best supported clubs in England, aren't they? So with Liverpool and Manchester United, it'll be a huge game for Liverpool, Manchester United fans. But I think a lot of neutrals will be interested in this one as well.
I'll be watching it with a real eager eye. Who's going to win? Predictions?
Louis van Gaal hasn't lost against Liverpool yet, which is probably the only thing that he's got going for him as Manchester United manager. I think that might be about to come to an end. I think it'll be a tight game. I think Liverpool 1-0.
1-0, Max?
Liverpool United is one of those fixtures that, whatever form either side are in, one team could be, flailing, one team could be flying, but it's one of those, anything could happen. And it will either be a cagey 0-0 or 1-0, or there'll be goals. It'll be an amazing game, really high scoring draw. I will go 2-2. 2-2.
Let's hope it is 2-2. Imagine that for a game. That'd be brilliant.
2-0 United away win.
Is that what you're going with? Is it?
Yeah, I reckon. He's done a good job.
You've shot me there.
He's done a good job bringing those youngsters through. They're feisty. They seem to be up for it. Bit unpredictable Liverpool team this year.
Be interesting to see what side both managers put out. Sorry, I'll get it there eventually.
I was in terms of second string.
Or whether they'll go for what they presume to be their best starting 11 at the moment, or whether they'll go. Perhaps we need to rest a few players. And
a big chance for both teams to get European silverware, though, isn't it?
I mean, Liverpool will go for it because they haven't really got anything else to play for. And United, really, they have that Champions League spot, but I don't think...
It's an outside chance for United getting top four now, isn't it? I think it's an outside chance.
They might as well both go for it.
Yeah.
And that's why the game's got an added bit of spice to it, because they both got,
It's important, isn't it?
It's not like that Chelsea-Man City FA Cup game of a few Sundays back where... Man City played that ridiculous side, and it was. I remember looking at it and thinking all the high numbers, thinking 72
squad numbers.
Who are you? There were a few names that I'd never heard of.
Manager's son.
And it showed.
Yeah, I don't think we'll expect that quite lower.
Oh no, certainly not. I think they'll be
seniors in there somewhere.
I think what will happen is both sides will play a 3/4 strength.
3/4.
Yeah, I think there will be a couple of players rested. For the just in case, because I think Liverpool will now fancy themselves at a top 4 spot as well
in the league.
If you look at where they are in terms of points and how far they are behind United,
it's not
nothing
undoable,
in it.
Is it?
No,
it's
not
getting tight, and they've got a chance as well.
And the extra thing, obviously, is if you win the Europa League, you get the Champions League spot.
Yeah, obviously,
massive initiative.
The problem is I have with regards to whoever wins this tie is it's almost like a cup final already. And this is just the round of 16.
Yeah.
There's a long way to go. And all of the sides that are left in it now pretty much are going to be
decent.
Difficult to be. Spurs, we shouldn't overlook Spurs. Have got a really tough game against Dortment.
What a tie that is as well.
That's also a glamour tie, isn't it?
Premier League front runners against Bundesliga front runners. Front runners, both of them are just behind first place, aren't they? So that'd be a big game as well.
Certainly will.
So just to finish today, there was something you wanted to talk about, Shane.
Yeah, I was really annoyed a little bit last night watching the BT Sport coverage of PSG Chelsea, and I appreciate that there has to be, to a certain extent, a bit of a love-in with the Premier League, and we have to represent our England in Europe. We have to talk our chances up, but there was this chat of how PSG had played well in patches. And I think, having watched both games, I thought PSG dominated the tie, not the fixture. I think both fixtures they wholeheartedly deserved to win. And I was very surprised to hear experienced players, managers, and pundits in the form of Glenn Hoddle, and Gianluca Vialli saying that PSG only played well in patches. I don't believe that for a second. I
think if you win a Champions League game over 2 ties, you are the better side.
Yeah.
That's why 2 ties are there.
Exactly. And the fact that they both fixtures, PSG were the better side in both fixtures as well as just the tie.
You can't argue, can you?
I find it difficult. I find some of the arguments that were coming out of some of the pundits is just a little bit ridiculous at times, but yeah, I just needed to get that off my chest.
We need to get our CVs in. That's what we need to do.
We do. Unfortunately,
I
don't have a Champions League winners medal to throw into the equation like Rio Ferdinand can. But
no, we don't. We don't. But there we go. What can you do?
You've still got time on your side. It could happen for you, mate.
Absolutely not. Max has got more time than me.
Exactly. Max has got more time than you. This is true.
Get signed up to our local teams, mate. You never know.
You never know. It could happen.
It could happen. Right, that's half an hour. That's about it, isn't
it?
That's
it.
Can I just say one more final thing?
Yes, of course you can.
Because I've got to make a correction. I said earlier, Sporting play in the Midland Football League Premier Division.
Yes.
That's incorrect. They play in the Midland Football League Division 1.
Oh,
I should know this as I do the match reports there, and I also always write it. I didn't want somebody to, tweet you in saying he's wrong, your special guest is wrong. Yeah. So it's Division 1. I believe it's Hereford who play in the Premier Division.
Yeah, they play in the Premier.
Okay.
Easily done, though.
Easily done and well corrected. You saved yourself there,
exactly,
Max. Good work, mate.
Good work. Massive thank you for coming on.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thank you.
The insight of non-league is always, I think, fascinating.
I do as well. And I think, to be honest with you, at the moment, it's far more interesting than anything else that's going on in football. So, yeah, thanks very much.
No, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. I'm sure we'll hear of you again sometime. And good luck to Bromsgrove this weekend. I'm sure we'll all be looking out for
we'll be rooting for him
against Coventry. So, thanks a lot for listening, everyone. And we'll see you next week. Well, we won't see you because we can't see you, but we'll see you next week.
Thanks for that clarification. Cheers. Bye-bye.